guys, and welcome to another edition of Simply Fit. I'm your host, Sandy White, your number one health and wellness cheerleader. And today we are talking about the mind because November is quality mindset. So we're going to be bringing segments that's going to be going over how to bring your mind to the quality that God said it's supposed to be. And remember, guys, we are on a mission to save 1 million lives by encouraging individuals to live a simply fit life through health and nutrition. And we want to make sure we tap into every aspect of reaching everyone, because this is we're going into as I mentioned to you guys last segment, we're going into the fall season, and this is the longest time of darkness that we encounter on the earth, and a lot of people don't deal well with that. So with the simple tips and strategies through health and nutrition, it does assist individuals with overcoming suicide and mild depression. And we have a wonderful guest on here today. His name is Dr. Ron Dalrymple, and he is going to just go over some wonderful stuff that he has in his psychology practice. But before that, I want to just remind you guys that we are in our second season with WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network, and they are a nonprofit organization, and we are very grateful to be able to come on the show because they partner up with their mission. Their mission, I should say, is partnering up with what we're trying to do, and their mission is a total education and empowerment and encouragement. So go on to the broadcasting network, the tab that says broadcasters, and see all of the different broadcasters that are on there, and see what works with your lifestyle. There's a lot of information. We know you're not going to be able to delve into everything, but there's something for you that you can go into one of those broadcasters tab and see what else you can add along with the Simply Fit broadcasting network. So with that being said, please subscribe, like, and click the donation button, and subscribe and share. I know I said that twice, but please, it is important because WYTV7 Christian Broadcasters Network, they're on a mission just like we're on a mission, and we need your help in order to meet and exceed our 1 million lives that we want to save. So with that being said, we want to welcome Dr. Ron to the show. How are you, sir?
Thank you, Sandy. Great pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. It's a real honor to be on your show. I'm watching your program. You're doing great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So guys, I want to let you know a little bit about Dr. Ron, and then he's going to get right into everything that he has. He is a psychologist. He's a licensed psychologist. As I mentioned, he's in Florida. So I know that's a hot spot for a lot of you all. So you want to reach out to him, and because we're still in COVID-19, we're dealing with a lot of suicide, depression, anxiety. He can definitely help you guys. And also, you know, guys, he has 4 best-selling books out. But today, what we're going to be talking about is one of the books that he has. He actually has a movie out on, and it is The Endless Question, and it's dealing with the mind. And I always tell you guys, being fit is more than just exercise, because if you don't control that mind, you're really not going to be able to do anything else. And with that being said, Dr. Ron, can you tell them exactly what the quantum field psychology is all about, and then how can they utilize this information? Like, you have the practice, but how can the audience put that into practice?
Okay, quantum field psych started many years ago. I won't go into a lot of details here because it's a long history, but I was working at NASA when I was in college at University of Maryland in College Park, nearby where you folks are. And I discovered a new theory of the mind where if you use quantum physics, mathematics, and topology, you can actually describe all the fields of psychology in a whole new form. To make it very simple, the idea is that we have a higher mind, a higher consciousness we know, where we connect to that much higher mind, and it's always open to us. We can access that mind and download, as it were, information from the higher mind into the ego mind. Now, a lot of folks get stuck in the ego mind, like you've mentioned before in some of your programs. We get stuck in our addictive thoughts, our addictive emotions. So we get trapped in various kinds of behaviors, like eating the wrong kinds of foods, not exercising properly, which can cause all kinds of side effects. So it's very important to learn how to think super positive first off, to see the good in all things, to think positive, to know that you are really a temple of higher powers and higher thought, and we need to open up to that. So we want to love ourselves and love the physical body and want to take care of the physical body. That, of course, includes diet and exercise. So it is important to exercise, if you mentioned before, like several times a week, even every day, take a walk, but also we have to control our eating. Now, going back historically, a lot of research has been done by Dr. Campbell, and it's now called the China Study, which was started in the early 70s. I'm sure you heard of by the Emperor Chow En-lai. He was dying of pancreatic cancer. He's going, well, I'm one of the most powerful and rich guys in the world. Why am I dying of pancreatic cancer? What have I done wrong? So he started this massive study in China where he interviewed in depth hundreds of millions of people. He did a total demographic on their lifestyle, where they lived, what they ate, what they consumed. And they found over 8,000 significant correlations between their lifestyle, their food consumption, so forth, with very serious diseases, including heart disease, strokes, diabetes, COPD. All sorts of correlations are found between eating animal products, believe it or not, and those diseases. And he had somebody on recently, Cherise, talking about a vegan diet, and she's exactly right. Because a vegan diet, you go to plant-based food and whole foods, which your body loves and your body built itself upon. If we eat animal products, it's full of toxins and chemicals and steroids, and the animal food itself is really deleterious to our health. So that's a very, very important thing to think about. Yeah, you want to jump in there?
No. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
This is really good.
Yeah. Okay. So these guys done this research and have found huge correlations in their clinical work. More studies have been done. In fact, we go back to Hippocrates, who was the father of medicine, who lived like 460 BC. He lived for like 103 years by our records. So, he was doing something right. And he said that, you must understand food, because food is either medicine or poison to the body. So we must eat the right kinds of foods, live the right kind of lifestyle. So we want to consume the right kind of food, get the right kind of exercise, drink very clean water. We want to detox the body. In our theory, quantum field psychology, which is now told in our film, The Endless Question, which is free on Amazon Prime. It's a 2-hour documentary. We talk about it's most important to detox your system, both mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So we allow as much higher energies that come down into our system to help us function at the highest level. So we want to raise our consciousness to a higher level. And one of the supermind powers we have is that of pure love. It's not just, consumption of food and exercise and positive thought, but it's a supermind power of pure love or pure spiritual love. Where you love yourself as a higher entity and other people in the same way. So you love a higher source and each other is all part of that divine plan. That creates a powerful connection with people, which tunes you into people. And when I do therapy with folks, for example, one of the first things we do is we kind of connect with them with empathy. So we build a bond of trust with them. We're there to help them. And they open up to us more and more as we make that connection. And then they can build upon that as a foundation for building new relationships and growing in life. So connection between people is most important. You mentioned before, we live in a world now where there's so much dissension and chaos and problems going on. We must get beyond this level and move to a level where we understand we're all part of a higher being and we're all part of each other. We must all work together as one entity to solve these problems. We can't do it alone. We can't do it fighting each other. We have to connect with each other in a much more powerful way, as Martin Luther King said, as Christ said, as Moses said, as Krishna. There are many people throughout history who made these same kind of comments in different form to different people. These are very, very powerful ideas. And now what's really fascinating is in quantum field psych, we show how spirituality tunes into science, that science explains spiritual concepts perfectly well. There's now a mathematical system showing they all connect up. That's quantum field psychology, told in the film, The Endless Question. Yeah, do you want to jump in?
Just a little bit, because you're doing wonderful. Because I know in Romans 12:2, it said God tells us not to be conformed to this world, but be renewing of our minds. So is there a process that you can, or an exercise, a quick one, that you can share with the audience and our listeners on how they can focus their mind and tap into their subconsciousness to find peace and to find love on a better and more efficient level? Because right now it looks like everything is superficial for a lot of us.
Yeah, a great question. Yeah. Paul was talking about the constant renewing of the mind. So every day we look at ourselves, think about what are we doing wrong. If we're thinking negative thoughts, having negative feelings, we want to say stop. I'm not going to think that, or stop, I'm not going to feel that, then instantly think many positive thoughts and try to shift our emotions into love, harmony, and peace. So we don't indulge in negative emotions. We start feeling angry or depressed. Say, oh, stop, I'm not going to feel that. There's a higher power working through me and through other people. We're going to work through all these issues. So you constantly have to monitor yourself. It's called mindfulness. That's one approach to it. Also goes back to many approaches over the years, the idea of looking at your thoughts and emotions, to constantly kind of reprogram those to a higher level. Now, here's what's very interesting. One of the most addictive things is not just drugs and alcohol and certain kinds of food, but thoughts themselves. Many thoughts are addictive. So we get stuck into negative thought cycles and negative emotional cycles, which can get us trapped into those layers. And that's why it's so hard to break out of. Now, a lot of you folks on the show talk about you people have to shift and make a decision. I'm going to be more healthy. I'm going to work at this. It's going to take work every day. I have to make my mind up. I am doing this. I'm not just going to do it in the future. I'm doing it right now. I'm making this decision right now, and to push forward and to change our lives to make it work. And then we do it.
Right, absolutely. Now, I am going to go backwards. In your endless question to our documentary, you didn't mention that quantum field and psychology is a new bridge between science and spirituality. Is there an example that you can give that'll help people kind of connect this a little better?
Yes, absolutely. Think back to 1801, Dr. Thomas Young, who was a polymath. He was not to throw out too many terms like you mentioned, but he was a physician in England, and he also studied math and physics and applied it to medicine. So he studied all these fields together. He found that if you use a double slit process, he did what's called a double slit experiment. He showed that light traveling through space travels as a waveform. Later research found that it also interacts with matter as particles. The idea that occurred to me back in 1969 working at NASA is what if thought energy also travels through space in a waveform and interacts with matter as particles. That makes perfect sense. And I think that will be shown to be true as we develop more instrumentation down the road. But it also implies if we are spiritual beings, that we are spiritual beings beyond the physical body. We're not just a physical body. See, all the other theories say that the mind is superlative and that, the brain's superlative and the mind is subset. We're saying that the mind is superlative, that the mind transcends the physical brain and physical body. So we are essentially spiritual beings, and it follows a scientific process. And what people can do every day is try to think positive thoughts, try to see the good in all things, keep an attitude of gratitude, constantly bless everybody around you, and bless I don't mean bless by cussing them out. I mean blessing them by sending love and kindness. Even when you're driving, I know it's hard to do with road rage, right? Over the place. But it's important to send people positive energy and positive thoughts as much as we can, to do small things to help people, to help lift them up. Even holding the door for somebody can change their day. It might even change their life. I've seen that happen. It might change them from depression. A lot of small things have a huge impact upon people. So learn how to think positive at all times, try to feel loving, harmonious, joyful thoughts at all times. Understand we're going to get through this pandemic and all the problems in the world. We're going to overcome all this working together as one team, as one people. Not fighting each other, but working together. So we want to network with people, find a group to connect with. Find a group of friends that you can be tight with in person or over the internet or by phone calls, whatever. So you connect up with people. So you join a congregation of other people who help lift you up. Also do things every day which help lift you up, like taking a walk, perhaps getting some exercise. Walking in nature is very, very powerful. Playing music if you like music, listening to great music, writing, doing things that are creative and so forth. You're building bridges with your family, with your friends. If you're home more, so reach out, try to connect in all the ways we can. That all that helps. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was trying to think of the word. You'll think of it when I ask you this question. But the example that's coming to mind from what you're sharing is basically do unto others as you want to be done unto yourself. So if I'm nasty and mean to you, it's going to come full circle, and it may not come from you because you're already indicating to us I'm going to be nice. But someone down the line is going to be mean to me, and I'm going to be trying to figure out. I just met this person. Why is this person being mean to me? And this may have happened, months ago that I was mean to you, but what people don't realize is it goes full circle. And this is why God tells us to treat our neighbors like we would treat ourselves. And I definitely don't want anybody treating me mean. So with that being said, what are a couple benefits that people can master from this? Because we're I think we're giving very good examples, but sometimes, people need to hear other examples that may not seem so simple. And I like simple tips and strategies, but a lot of times people make this process a science project, and it really isn't. So do you have any other suggestions that you can, let them know why this is so critical and the benefits that they can receive by just being positive and also treating others well? I mean, and really genuinely meaning it, because, and I know I'm talking a lot, but you did mention that our mind is an energy field. And so when you emit that negativity out in the atmosphere, it really is going to come back to you.
Oh, yes, that's exactly right. Doing to others is a very, very powerful set of precepts, and that is absolutely true. We can also talk about karma or Newton's third law, action, reaction. So it's been found in the world of physics and mathematics, and of course in psychology and in spirituality. What you send out returns to you often many times over until we learn the lesson to walk that higher path. So doing it to other people, trying to help them and lift them up, comes back to us. Now, if somebody is nasty towards you or short-tempered or whatever, it's best to turn away anger by being calm. When I used to work in psych hospitals, when a patient goes up and gets escalated, they call it, by getting really upset, we get more calm. We calm down more. So we calm down our voice. We slow things down to help them calm down. So that's very important to think about what you're thinking about, what you're feeling at all times. You're broadcasting to the world around you. The mind is energy. So we have to be aware of that, to constantly put out positive energy. So this is not just something you just, like you said, a science project. It's more like a lifestyle change. We realize that we are energy beings, we're spiritual beings. We have great powers within us. That when we access that higher mind more and more through meditation, through prayer, through right living, through walking the higher path, then more of those ideas come to us. We also want to be open to the insights that come to us from that higher mind. That's what Paul meant by the constant renewing of your mind. We're constantly looking for new insights, new ways to improve who we are and what we're doing. So it's a lifestyle change. It's a commitment to walking a higher path in life. If the whole world, this of course, it sounds like Pollyanna type ideas, but the whole world shifts to walking that higher path, we're going to totally recreate this planet. But we need to do that. The more folks who think negative and who feel negative and do harmful things to other people, the more chaos it causes.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So guys, we are going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to have Dr. Ron explain to us the ununified field of theory. All right. So give us a second. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love Dry Farm wines. I first met the man known as the healthiest wino on the planet back in 2016. He said his wines don't cause headaches or hangovers, and that he started his company because most wine consumed in the U.S. is highly processed and loaded with unnatural nasties. Like most processed food, it's toxic. That very night, I made a big health decision. Toxic wines out, natural wines in. It's been 4 years since I made the switch, and I feel great. Go to happyliving.com and select Partners in Happy to get your first bottle of natural wine for a penny. And I'll donate 8% of every order placed during the entire month of November to WYTV7. Share the gift of natural wine and pour some love this holiday season.
Welcome back, guys. I'm your host, Sandy White of Simply Fit Radio, and I hope you enjoyed our commercial from Dry Farms Wine. Please pick up a bottle today. So, as I mentioned before the commercial break, I did ask Dr. Ron to explain to you guys, and as well as myself, the ununified field of theory.
Well, it's a unified field theory. The idea is that the whole universe can be explained by a certain set of basic precepts. In fact, Einstein said, show me the thoughts of God, the divine laws of God, and we'll know everything else from that. So what are the basic laws of the universe? All the attempts in the past of creating a unified field theory looked at physics and mathematics and so forth, but did not consider the aspect that we are spiritual beings. We must take into account that we are spiritual beings, and the thought has power, has great creative power. We influence the world around us. We must incorporate that to bring it all together. So in quantum field psych, we attempt to do that. We show how all the major fields of psychology are integrated by quantum physics, by topological mathematics and calculus. We show how it all fits and makes sense. But that book, which is on Amazon, is mostly for engineers, mathematicians, physicists. So we made the endless question, the 2-hour documentary on Amazon Prime, to make it a lot more simple, so folks can see how it all fits together. So, for example, all the precepts and a lot of the parables that Christ told are very powerful laws of physics as well. For example, the idea that when we leave the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, and also the story of the prodigal son, was talking about people leaving a higher state of consciousness and being in contact with the divine Father, with the higher power, and getting pulled off task into the world of illusion around us. So they dropped down, in other words, into lower feelings, lower thoughts, and so forth, and got trapped in various kinds of behaviors. The metaphor is a guy woke up one day in a hog pen and realized, what am I doing? I must return back to the Father. So he returns back to the divine Father, where all good things are given unto him. Now his brother, which represents the ego, says, oh, no, this is not fair. I've been here the whole time. He comes back, he's been gone. He comes back and gets all the same stuff I do. The Father says, yes, because now he's back in contact. So it all comes back to him. So the idea is that all these spiritual concepts are, I'm sure a lot of these things actually happen, but they're also metaphors for higher principles. And the laws of physics and math also explain those in a really fascinating way. So unified field theory attempts to bring it all together, explain the universe and so forth, who we are as human beings and divine beings, how we all interconnect, how it all makes perfect sense scientifically. There's been a big split between science and religion now for hundreds of years. So bring it ever since 1602, when Sir Francis Bacon created a book called the Novum Organum, which is the basis of scientific method. That caused a huge split between science and the church. And now, unfortunately, many medical doctors, many psychiatrists are atheists, which I find astounding. It makes no sense to me at all, but many of them are. And they think if you believe in religion that there's something wrong with you. But what I'm saying is, no, it makes perfect sense that spiritual concepts are scientific in nature and vice versa once we understand what those meanings are. So unified field theory must incorporate the spiritual with the physical, with the mental, the emotional, and also incorporates diet, exercise, all the things we do to bring it all together to make ourselves much more holistic beings, much more powerfully focused spiritual beings. When you stay in contact with that divine power all the time, think about that. Every situation you go into in life, you're always in contact and that power guides you. So when you have a question, a problem, you ask that power, what do I do? Which way do I turn? What's up? You go into meditation or prayer, and whatever comes to you is often very, very insightful. And so you follow that. So being in contact, that's what Christ said, pray unceasingly. That's what he was talking about. You stay in contact all the time, not just once in a while, not just on Sunday for an hour, but all the time. That brings those powers through you over time. It also converts and transforms your body. Because remember, what we eat affects the body profoundly, but we feed it spiritually and emotionally and thought-wise also feeds it or causes disease, which means lack of ease.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially with what you consume, because the way it was presented to you, it has connotations attached to it, which then you consume. But I don't want to get into that too much. But I do want to just make sure I am understanding that how the everyday person can put this theory into practice. You're saying basically follow Holy Spirit, listen to the divine powers. There are examples that Christ provided in his parables. And then one of the examples you also gave was the prodigal son. Now, did I miss anything, or did you want to add anything to that?
Well, there's a lot to it. It's important, I think, to read some of our books, you get a lot more background. We have a whole series of books on Amazon. One's called 8 Days of Creative Power, where they learn a lot of different creative thinking techniques to really turn on the creative powers within. The next book is called The Inner Manager, which is a short course in mind development itself and spiritual awakening and so forth. The next book is called I Love You, God, which is a book of aphorisms or statements about connecting the divine power to the conscious mind or the higher mind to the ego mind. And the next book is Quantum Field Psychology, written for the scientific world. And then, of course, the film The Endless Question, the 2-hour documentary. I have a new book in production too, which is about mind games. It's called Taming the Menagerie, because the most deceptive mind games are the ones we play with ourselves. We twist it around, we lie to ourselves, we feed ourselves all kinds of lies and illusions, and we believe in the false things. That's what Paul meant, the constant renewing of the mind to constantly correct who we are and how we think and what we do. So I'll give more information. Yeah.
Now, each one of those books has a key component that builds upon the other one that fit into the film that you have out, The Endless Mind. Is that correct? Did I miss anything?
The Endless Question. That's right. They all play a role.
I said the endless mind. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, they'll kind of follow the sequence. Well, that's true too. The endless mind is true too, and the endless spirit, right? But they'll follow the sequence. I started working at NASA at 17, made this discovery at 19, which then changed the course of my life. So I spent the last 50 years, or actually more than half a century, researching this, resulting in these books and this film to try to give these ideas to the world, help lift people up and help folks understand that we're all one. We have to end all the tribal warfares and the fighting, and around the world has been constant wars and so forth. We need to really change things. We need to transform the world, and we can do it. We have the power to do it. And a lot of people are doing this. A lot of folks like yourselves are involved. You're Christian broadcasting. You're doing a lot of great work, help people wake up and reconnect with that higher power. Many folks around the world are working on these very issues. So the world, I think, is waking up and reconnecting.
So we're down to our last 10 minutes. And so I want to give Dr. Ron the opportunity to make sure he can sum up what he has shared with you guys, because I want you guys to take advantage of all the books that he has and really delve into them, because taking care of your mind is not, as he mentioned, that's not something you do one time and you're done, done and forget it. So we want to give Dr. Ron an opportunity, if you could do that now. Tell them, but basically sum up what they can do as benefits to get themselves to a really good place with their mind. Tell them how they can reach you. And then anything that is a, simple tip and strategy of a practice that they can do on a regular basis.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, the thing to do is work on your mind the same way you work out. Some of your folks on the show talk about, I work out twice a day, I work out once a day, whatever they do. Get into a habit, a routine of training your body and training your mind and training your emotions. So we make this a lifestyle change. We make a commitment. I like to call it titanium will. You focus your will, not just iron will, but titanium will to make these things happen. So you really change who you are. So on a daily basis, again, we work on programming our thoughts to think positive at all times, to see the positive in all situations, to see the good in other people. Like somebody's in a bad mood, whatever, say, well, they're having a bad day, whatever. Maybe they just went through a tragedy, who knows what. But we see the good in them as a spiritual being. We think of them that way. That alone helps to lift them up. So we think about ourselves and people in life in a very different way. We also recondition our emotions to feel harmony and joy and peace as best we can all the time. I'm saying, I have divine connection. I'm tied into higher power. A higher power works through me to do good works at all times. It lifts yourself up and people around us in really powerful ways. So it really is a lifetime commitment. And what we find happening is that over time, things get better and better. Life gets easier. Things might go wrong, like a computer crashes, right? We know about that. And yet we got it fixed. And on both ends it happened. What? But we got it fixed. Because a positive thought, working together, we brought it all together. And that's a good metaphor for life in general. No matter what hits us, we can deal with it. We can overcome it. We have the power inside of us, which we often don't know about because we're not trained to learn this. What do schools teach us? Sit down, shut up, walk in the line, do what you're told, repeat back what you're fed. We're not taught these things. We have to learn them through other means. And now, of course, in the virtual world, of course, there are problems. It's a great thing because so many folks like yourselves are out there talking to the world and giving ideas, giving insight to help lift the world up. Before it was all controlled by these big monopolies, and still is to a large degree. These big monopolies have too much power. Now it's being diversified and decentralized so more folks can get the word out there and their thoughts and their ideas. Yeah, please go ahead.
So no. I just want you to tell them how they can reach you.
Okay. On Facebook, we have all the books I mentioned are on Facebook. So Dr. Ron Dalrymple. Also, the film is The Endless Question, which is on Amazon Prime for free. It's also on Tubi, Flickster. I don't know, it's on a bunch of websites now. They keep increasing the websites it's on. They can get us on Facebook. They can also reach us on LinkedIn and so forth. We're also on YouTube. There's a bunch of our podcasts are on YouTube. We're also on Anchor FM now. We're doing our own podcasts. We just started recently, so that's a lot of fun. So I'm learning about this whole world. So you can reach us through, probably most easy through Facebook, since it's like messaging on there. And we'd be happy to respond to them. And if you want to check out the books, again, it's 8 Days of Creative Power, The Inner Manager, I Love You, God, and Quantum Field Psychology. And the film is The Endless Question. And then the new book is called Taming the Menagerie, Mind Games People Play. That's a fun book. It'll be coming out soon.
Well, make sure you let us know so we can share it with the audience, because That's us. Unfortunately, a lot of people do that, and they don't even realize that they are actually their worst enemy when it comes to their brain. And I look at it as a chess game. If you move the pieces correctly on how you think and how you respond to yourself, that gets you to the level of success a lot quicker than you moving backwards. But guys, I just wanted to tell you all, we have had an outstanding time with Dr. Ron. Please reach out to him. I mean, he's already told you guys where to reach him, where to get his books. You can go on Amazon and get those. And I just want to remind you guys that I am Sandy White from Simply Fit Radio. We do broadcast on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please check your time zone so you don't miss any of our segments. And we just want to thank you guys and bless you all for having, the opportunity to come on here and be with us. We do not take that for granted. So with that being said, we will see you.
Thank you. God bless.